Hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's-A-Mii here, and today we are doing another collection update. The Nintendo Switch 2 is releasing in just a little over a week, which had me thinking about my Switch collection, and it had me going back and trying to fill in some gaps from releases earlier this year. Before the Switch 2 comes out, I want to get caught up, so we have a nice meaty stack of Nintendo Switch games here, as well as some PlayStation games and a bunch of thrifted finds from the past month. So that's what we're getting into today. Of course, if you are new here and you enjoy collecting content like this, I would appreciate you liking the video and subscribing, and as always, let me know what you've added to your collection in the past month in the comments down below. Let's get into it. Okay, people, I hope your morning is going well. We have a lot to get into today in these stacks over here. A lot of cool thrifted stuff, and we'll actually go ahead and start there from the Goodwill outlet over the past month. We found some pretty cool things, starting off quite a few Dreamcast/PS1 games. So here we had a copy of Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation on Dreamcast. So we're always going to the Goodwill outlets where you pay by the pound, you dig through unassorted goods. Sometimes they'll sort through it, and sometimes they'll put those on their website, Shop Goodwill. But there are definitely times where things will slip through the cracks, and this time we found some cool Dreamcast stuff, which is really awesome. You don't find Dreamcast stuff in the wild too often, so for $1 each, definitely couldn't say no to that. We also had this game, Conflict Zone, Modern War Strategy for the Dreamcast. The jewel cases could use a swap, but the discs are in there, the manual's in there, and they're in a pretty good condition otherwise. I think so. Anyway, let me check. Yeah, the discs, I mean, it could use a little wipe down, but it's all right. Next up, we found this Demolition Racer No Exit game. Never even heard of this, but Dreamcast game at the bins for $1. Then we had some PS1 games, starting off with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Lone Wolf. Once again, could use a fresh jewel case, but it is in there. And let's check the disc on this one. I'm curious how this one is. I always love checking. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. There's some specks of some like dust on it, but that is a clean PS1 game. There's something so satisfying about like a perfectly unscratched PS1 disc where they have the black back. They just look so, I don't know, so nice. This was a pretty cool one. I've never played this series, but I've heard very good things. I know people love, I think it's the one on 360, Driver San Francisco, but we found the first Driver game, Driver You Are the Wheelman, from the creators of Destruction Derby 1 and 2. So this is a franchise that Ubisoft ended up getting the rights to. There was that Driver San Francisco game on 360 and PS3 that I'm pretty sure is delisted now. Never played one of these games, but I've heard good things, and for $1 on PS1, couldn't complain there. This was interesting. Also $1. We found a soundtrack for an NIS America game. I think it's a PS4 game. I'd never heard of this one, and I'm an NIS America collector, but we had this game, Anima Gates of Memories soundtrack. Once again, jewel case is cracked. Very weird to find something like this at a Goodwill, but for $1, hey, nice little addition to the soundtrack collection that I've been slowly adding to over the years. And I'd never even heard of this game, so it's one I definitely want to do some research on and check out and see if it piques my interest. So that's all of the jewel case stuff. We found this just yesterday as of when I'm recording. Life is Strange True Colors on PS4. I played this game on PS5 and I really enjoyed it. This is my favorite Life is Strange game, I would say. I like it a lot more than the first one. I never played the second one. So really, out of the two I played, the first game and True Colors is definitely my favorites. However, I don't know where my copy is on PS5. I was looking for it, and I don't know how it got misplaced. I don't see it over there. So we saw this on PS4, and I thought it was neat for $1. And then just a few more random things here. We had Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers on PS2. I actually watched these movies for the first time late last year, and they are pretty good. The hype is there for sure. Don't know how the games are, but this is a pretty clean PS2 disc. As well as GTA 3. I actually did not have this one, believe it or not. Hot Shots Golf 4 on PS2, back when Sony was still publishing them. Now we have that new entry, Everybody's Hot Shots Golfer, or something like that. It was announced in the Nintendo Direct. It's the same franchise, same series, same developer. But now they're multi-platform, which is great to see. I'm excited for that new one. And then we had a GameCube game, once again, similar to Dreamcast, very rare to find GameCube stuff. It feels like, yeah, it is missing the manual, and it's not really worth anything, but GameCube game, very happy to find this. Disney Sports Skateboarding. When I saw that in the bin, I was like, oh man, is this the one? Because if you don't know, I think it's basketball. There's a Disney sports game on GameCube it's like the most expensive GameCube game. I don't follow it too much. I don't follow GameCube collecting all that much, other than just, the first party stuff that I want from Nintendo. But yeah, there's a Disney sports game on GameCube that's like $1,000 or something. So I saw that and I was like, oh snap, is that the one? For like a split second, then I realized, obviously, and it wasn't. Before we get into Switch though, we do have a couple other things here. 3 PlayStation pickups over the past month. So I saw this for a good deal. I had some Mercari credits and I was like, oh wow, I actually don't own this game. I played played it through PS Plus, and it's one of my favorite games that I've played in the past, really this decade, to be honest, and that is Yakuza 0 on PS4. Of course, the Switch 2 is coming out very soon, and I will be picking up and playing Yakuza 0 there. I really want to check out that new online mode, but considering I love this game so much, I realized there was a gaping hole in my collection of, like, I played it on PS4, I should own it on PS4, where I own all of the other games, and yeah, happy to add this. I think it was like $20, and I had some Mercari credits, so I figured go ahead and do this. I'm thinking about doing some graphics comparison style videos for Switch 2 stuff, if I already have the game on PS4 or PS5, and I figured this might be a good one to do because it's one of the more prominent launch games, I guess we'll say. Next up, we had a new release, and that is Doom: The Dark Ages. I got the premium edition here on PS5. This was, if you missed my videos late last year talking about my most anticipated games of 2025, this was number 1 on the list. Doom 2016 and especially Doom Eternal are, I think, some of the greatest FPS games ever made. I'm going to say my full thoughts for the games I played this month video in a couple of days. I really liked Doom: The Dark Ages. However, it is a disappointment, I think, in a lot of ways. I really respect id for keeping it feeling like Doom while also changing the formula so much so that each game kind of stands on its own and it is a fresh, unique experience with each game while still maintaining that Doom feel. However, I can address that and I can be happy that they did that while also thinking, you know, I don't think it's as good as Doom 2016, and I don't really think it holds a candle to Eternal. Eternal is one of my favorite games ever made. Dark Ages is really good. I'm sure it'll end up on my top 10 list, so I don't want to sound too down on it, but not as good as Eternal. But it is a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. I like Eternal a lot more, and 2016 a lot more for that matter. So I'll get into my full thoughts on that in the coming days in my games I played this month video. I already finished, rolled credits, did a lot of the side content, so I really enjoyed it, but not as much as I was hoping, I guess I should say. And then last PlayStation pickup here, this just came in literally a couple hours ago. I ordered it from Amazon. I wanted something very short to play after finishing Clair Obscura Expedition 33, and I don't have a lot of time before the Switch 2 comes out, so I'll go ahead and open this up right here. This is like a 4-hour game I've always wanted to play. I've heard great things about. I decided to pick it up on PS5. It was pretty cheap on Amazon, so I got a copy of, I always get the pronunciation wrong. I think it's just Grease. It might be Gree though. That S might be silent, but this is a very artistic game that has been on my backlog, or, you know, something I've wanted to play ever since, I think it was like 2018 it came out on Switch, and for a while there the Switch copy was like super expensive. However, recently, Devolver and Nomada, the development team, they recently reprinted it on PS5 and Switch, along with their new game, I think it's Neva, as well. So I decided to pick this up. This will be a nice little palate cleanser before the Switch 2. Just something short, game I've always wanted to play. Very, very nice physical. I love the artwork on this, so happy to add that to the collection, and you might hear my thoughts on it in the games I play this month video. I might save that for next month, but we'll see. Definitely excited to check this one out. Okay, next up we have our big stack of Switch games. However, I realized I missed something we thrifted. I thought this was fun. I had some of these as a kid. I don't know where I got them. I think I bought a pack of them at like a Target or something. But we saw these and I thought it was pretty fun. We got 2 sheets of Super Mario Galaxy trading cards. I miss this era, man. The trading card hype is real right now. You can see the sleeve is literally dirty from the Goodwill. The trading card hype is real right now with Pokemon and sports cards, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, all that stuff. But I know when I was growing up, 2008, 2009, there were just so many different types of cards that you could find. Just random stuff. I think I also had some Twilight Princess cards or something like that around the same time. So this is a fun little throwback here if you ever had these when you were younger, or maybe you were an adult collecting them. I don't know. Let me know if you ever encountered those in the wild. We also had another sheet here with some more. I was looking if they're like worth anything. Not that I would sell them, but it looks like there's like a hollow Rosalina or something that is worth money. Otherwise, these are worthless, but still kind of a fun novelty and definitely a nostalgic throwback for me. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into these Switch games here. So I'm going to keep collecting Switch. However, I think that with the Switch 2 coming out, with me focusing a little bit more on PS5 as of late in the past, year or so, I don't think I will be buying as much for Switch. There will always be, 1 or 2 things I go back and add to the collection. Maybe there will be some new releases that come out after the Switch 2 that are only on Switch 1. So I will end up getting more Switch stuff after Switch 2. However, I don't know if I'll ever have as many at one time for like a pickups video like I do right now. So that's why I'm calling it the final hurrah for Switch pickups, starting with 2 new releases here from the past month or so. Starting off for Switch though, it's rare that I buy a game more or less to support the developer. However, I'm very glad I decided to, because I started playing this game and it is very good. If you missed my games I played last month video, I talked a lot about how I was playing the Somnium Files, which is a game by the original creator of Zero Escape. Well, a sister series of that kind of is Danganronpa, and the creator of Danganronpa, in collaboration with the Zero Escape guy, released a new game at the end of April, the same day that Clair Obscur came out, and it kind of got swallowed up, and he was on Twitter talking about, like, oh, this game's gonna tank our studio if no one buys it. So I looked up the trailers, I was watching it, I think I'd seen some of it in a Nintendo Direct, and I was like, yeah, this looks interesting, I'll buy it, support the dev, and I'll get to it eventually. Well, I bought it and immediately started playing it, and I'm not sure if I'll have time to finish it before the Switch 2 releases, which is unfortunate, but we have the 100-line Last Defense Academy. I'm only maybe 8 hours into this game, but it's really good so far. If you like Danganronpa, it's basically Danganronpa, but with tactics gameplay, and the tactics gameplay so far, you know, once again, still pretty early on, is really fun. I'm enjoying the mystery, I'm enjoying trying to figure out what's going on here. I like most of the characters, the gameplay's fun. Apparently there's like 100+ different endings. That's where you kind of lose me. That's a bit much. I'm never going to see all of those endings. Even if I end up loving the game, I know I'm not going to have the time to play through all of those. But yeah, 100-line Last Defense Academy. This might be one of the final Switch exclusives. It's not on PlayStation and Xbox. It is on Steam as well. I think they were saying there's no plans to bring it to PlayStation, which is honestly why I ended up buying it on Switch anyway, because preferably I would have bought it on PlayStation, but it wasn't on there. So yeah, if you want a nice visual novel tactics game hybrid, the 100-line Last Defense Academy is one you should definitely keep an eye out for. Also very happy to see this finally released. We have the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 on Nintendo Switch. So we have Capcom versus SNK, we have CVS 2, I know people love CVS 2, I've been having fun playing that, Capcom Fighting Evolution, Street Fighter Alpha 3, Power Stone, Power Stone 2, Project Justice, as well as Plasma Sword. So admittedly, I have not played most of those games before this collection. Power Stone in particular is one that I'm excited to check out. I popped it into my Switch, immediately went to CVS 2 because I watch a lot of Maximilian Dude as my fighting game, I guess, news source, and he's always gassing up CVS 2. And I was excited to see them add it in this collection. So another bang-up job release from Capcom, another great collection from them. Now that we have this, I wonder what's next. I mean, there's so many old Capcom fighting games and otherwise other Capcom games. I wonder what the next collection from them will be. I love their collections. They do such a great job with these. And y'all know me, I've been on a huge fighting game kick recently, so happy to pick up this and check it out. Okay, next up we have several games that came out earlier this year. Amazon's Woot service, like their discount clearing out stock service, I don't even know what exactly it is. I always talk about it, but I know it's associated with Amazon. They were clearancing out or getting rid of a bunch of JRPGs that came out earlier this year on a Switch. So I got a couple of things from them for pretty cheap. We have Fairy Tail 2 from Koei Tecmo. Always been interested in these games. That one was pretty cheap, added that. We also had, this was actually on Amazon proper for $20. I missed it earlier this year. Happy to pick up Tales of Grace's F Remastered. I didn't really hear much talk about this one. It came out in January. I don't know if it's just because it's Grace's and people don't really care that much about Grace's, but I know when Symphonia came out, there was so much talk about that game. One, because it's Symphonia, but two, because it had a lot of issues. So if you've played Tales of Grace's F Remastered, let me know how it is in the comments down below. I mean, this was already a PS3 game. There was less for them to do necessarily to make it, looking up to snuff on modern hardware, make it run in HD and all that, unlike Symphonia, which needed... Well, actually, Symphonia was on PS3, wasn't it? That already had an HD remaster, I think. So I'm not sure what happened with Symphonia, but Tales of Grace's F, I haven't heard anything bad about, but maybe it's just because I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't hear anybody talking about it. So if you have played Grace's F on Switch, let me know how it was compared to Symphonia. Is it a better remaster than that? So I really want to get more into the Tales series, and $20 on Amazon, newer release. I figured go ahead and add that to the collection. We have another RPG here from NIS America, another game that I think kind of just went under the radar. We have Phantom Brave, The Lost Hero on Nintendo Switch here. This is a sequel to a PS2 game, which was really random for them to do. I remember when they announced this in the Switch partner showcase at the end of last year, or maybe like in the summer, they announced this, and I was like, that's so weird that they would go back and make a sequel to Phantom Brave, but pretty neat. Of course, this is the Disgaea team. It has their distinct art style. Definitely one I'm excited to check out, and the price was right. And then two more newer releases from 2025 that I went back and kind of caught up on. Very happy to get this in English. I bought it, must have been 2023, I guess, on Switch 1. I imported it from Japan, played a lot of it in Japanese, but then I was like, there's just no way they're not going to translate this and release it in English. And lo and behold, Spike Chunsoft finally did. We have Bakaru from Goodfield. This is the team that makes Yoshi's Woolly World and Kirby's Epic Yarn, and they did Princess Peach Showtime. They released a physical version of this with English on it. I've heard that when they localized it, because at first it released digitally last year, I've heard that they fixed the performance. There were some pretty bad performance issues with the Switch version. I saw some people saying that when they localized it and they re-released it earlier, or sorry, I should say late last year, I guess they kind of fix up the performance a little bit on Switch. So I hope that is true. Very excited to get to this and actually finish it and roll credits. Like I said, I was playing the Japanese version and I was really enjoying it. I really, really like this game. It's very unique and it's just something so different from them. But I stopped myself halfway through because I was like, I can't read this. I don't know what's going on. Not that you need to know the plot, but also it was such a high quality game I was playing and I was just like, there's just no way some other publisher won't pick this up. Next up, we do have 2 strategy games. One is old, one is newer. So this came out back in February. Bought it purely for Olivia. However, I also bought it when we learned that the Switch 2 version is just a code in the box and there is a $10 upgrade. But I got this. We have the Civilization 7 Deluxe Edition on Nintendo Switch with this very nice slipcover. Wanted to pick that up for Olivia. She loves Civ. Switch 2 coming out. There's a $10 upgrade for the Switch 2 version that has mouse controls. She played a lot of Civ 6 on Switch, and I was always complaining about how the controls weren't that good because, you know, it's a PC game. You want to play it with the mouse, while the Switch 2 should hopefully alleviate that, and I bet she will put a lot of time into this version. I think I would also like to check it out at least a little bit. I've only played Civ 5 a long time ago, like one game of it. It's a game I would like to try out more, you know. I don't know if I realistically will, but a pickup for Olivia nonetheless. And then we also had this. I already actually played a little bit of it. Definitely in over my head. I wasn't this confused when I was playing Civ for the first time, but a Koei Tecmo release that is also getting a Switch 2 version. We have Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening from Koei Tecmo. This is a strategy game with the, you know, Romance of the Three Kingdoms setting, all that stuff, Nobunaga Oda. Loading it up, good lord, it's just so much. I am so fascinated by these games, these strategy games. I guess it's like, what, the 4X, 5X strategy games, like Civ, but also, you know me, I'm in my Koei Tecmo bag recently, so I'm especially interested in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Nobunaga's Ambition. Now we have that new one on Switch 2, or I say new one, it's just this game, but with all the DLC and mouse support. I'm in over my head, but I really want to like give it a real shot. Like I want to try to put time into that Switch 2 version and really learn it. I think it'd be a lot of fun because it's a genre I'm just not familiar with, you know. I got a comment recently on a video. I think it was my video talking about Lost in Cults editions, and someone commented being like, "You're a fake, dude. You're a fraud. There's no way you like all these games." Right hand to God, I genuinely am interested in most games. Do I have time to play all of them? Absolutely not. I think a lot of people, they focus on very specific franchises, very specific genres. There are few exceptions for me when it comes to games I'm just not interested in. So yes, I can be interested in just, you know, Bakaru, but also Nobunaga's Ambition, but also, you know, Tales of Graces and Fairy Tail. Like my taste for video games is so broad. I'm so open to trying new things. And even if I end up not liking this when I put more time into it, playing on the Switch 1, by the way, without mouse controls was rough. So I'm excited to check out the Switch 2 version. Even if I don't end up liking it, I do want to give it a shot and try to learn it, try to understand it, because I know these are games that people do love, even if they are very niche. So get out of here, commenter, saying I can't possibly be excited for all these games. I am. I like games a lot. I like a wide array of games. You know what else I like? I like Puyo Puyo Tetris. So I got Puyo Puyo Tetris on Switch. This is one that I thought I had it physically, but I checked my shelf, I didn't. I must have bought it digitally back in 2017, but this was a very near launch title for the Switch 1, and it was very cheap. I was like, you know what, this is one of my favorite games on Switch, actually. I played the heck out of this game in 2017. I say one of my favorite games. I guess I should say one of my favorite early Switch games. So I was looking it up. The standard copy is like $10 free shipping on eBay, and then I saw there was this weird big box that came with the stupid Puyo Puyo Tetris keychain, which is actually pretty cute. But yeah, for like $10-15, I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and add Puyo Puyo there, because we're going to be reliving the Puyo Puyo launch experience on Switch 2 with 2S, which is just a remaster of, I guess not even a remaster, it's just the same game with like mouse support on Switch 2. But yeah, that had me thinking about Puyo Puyo Tetris. Very, very much enjoyed that game on Switch 1 and excited to check out the sequel on a Switch 2 because I never played the sequel when it came out back during COVID on a Switch and PS5. 5 more games here. We have a VGP order as well as a limited run order that finally came. We'll start off with the VGP order. So they reprinted this. I guess this is also kind of a release this year. We have The Messenger from Devolver Digital. Very Ninja Gaiden coded game. Really enjoyed it. This is the year of the Ninja Right. I already have it digitally, but I wanted to get it physically. The Switch version used to be like super expensive. I think it was special reserve, super rare. It was one of those companies that does those limited releases, and the Messenger was like an early release back in like 2018, 2019, and the physical on Switch got super expensive. Well, thankfully, we now have this new physical from Devolver that has the Picnic Panic DLC on the cartridge. So very cool. Definitely in that, like I said, Ninja Gaiden, Shinobi mindset right now with those coming out soon. And Messenger is very great. If you have not played the Messenger, I highly recommend it if you like classic Ninja Gaiden style games. Very fun. In that same order, we had an NIS America reprints. I've been wanting to get this game for a long time, but for a while there on Switch, it was very expensive. We have Yomawari, the Long Night collection from NIS America. One of the only, maybe the only games in my collection on Switch that has the T2M rating down there from ESRB. But this is a spooky little horror adventure game. Kind of play as these like little kawaii characters, but you're kind of walking around and it's all very unsettling and stuff. And I definitely like the aesthetic and vibe here. I've been wanting to play these for a while. I don't know if these were, I think they might have been Vita games or PSP games or something, because this is a collection. It has Yomawari Night Alone and Yomawari Midnight Shadows. That's why it's the Long Night collection. I'm not sure where they released them separately. It must be on Vita, I feel like, because I had never heard of them until this collection came out on Switch. But yeah, an older NIS America release that I was missing from my collection of NIS America games. Happy to get that. And then we had a limited run order. I guess I should say 2 limited run orders. Starting off, we'll start off with the older thing. We have this indie game that piqued my interest called Another Crusade. So this is a Super Mario RPG style RPG. If you can't tell from the cover, it's definitely in that same style. 3D turn-based RPG that's taking a lot of inspiration from Mario RPG, and I love Mario RPG, so this is one that definitely caught my eye, as well as a game called This Way Madness Lies. This is like a Sailor Moon inspired, or like, Magical Girl inspired RPG as well, turn-based RPG, where you have, your top-down world map running around, but then you also have some turn-based combat, and I don't know, it just kind of looked fun. So that was an order from a long time ago, and it finally came not too long ago, so happy to finally have those in. I think that was the oldest limited run order I was waiting on for anything. It might have actually come with my Personas. Did I show these? I might have shown these. They came with my Persona order, I think. I don't think I showed them, though. I guess they got separated. Yeah, so there's that. And then finally, we have the Castlevania Dominus collection. This is the DS collection of Castlevania games. Very happy to finally get this in for Switch. We have Dawn of Sorrow, Portrait of Ruin, and Order of Ecclesia from Konami, as well as Haunted Castle Revisited. I don't even know what that is. Castlevania, I've talked about it before. Definitely a series I need to get more acquainted with. I've played a couple of the games at this point, but I want to go through and play every Castlevania game eventually. I want to be like a Castlevania guy. Watch the anime, It's such a cool series, such cool characters, tone, setting, obviously, all that stuff. So happy to get the Dominus collection on Switch. And that is going to do it for pickups. However, we did have one final thing that is not a video game. I got this for Switch, a very old accessory. In fact, this accessory came out, it must have been April 2017, and I never bought it, but like I was saying with Yakuza earlier, I want to do an unboxing of the new one on Switch 2. I figured I would go ahead and pick it up on Switch so I can kind of do a comparison. We have the Joy-Con wheel set for Nintendo Switch Joy-Con. I do not use motion controls in Mario Kart, but I got the new Joy-Con 2 wheel set for Switch 2 for Mario Kart World, and I was like, I don't have it on Switch. I want to get these and kind of compare them, do a size comparison, that kind of thing, because these I always thought looked really cheap, just comically cheap. They look small, and they are small because of the Joy-Con being small, whereas the Switch 2 Joy-Con wheels, I don't use motion controls when I play Mario Kart, don't get me wrong, but they actually look way more premium, pretty high quality, almost more comfortable to hold. A lot due to the size, but also the material and the grips they have on it. I'm actually excited to check those out. I don't know why. Like I said, I don't use motion controls. I'll be checking them out, of course, for a little bit on Switch 2 with Mario Kart on launch day. But yeah, I wanted to pick up these. Just a weird accessory, official accessory from Nintendo I missed out on back in 2017. So with that said, that is going to do it for the final hurrah for Nintendo Switch pickups. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below about my pickups, but also what have you added to your collection in the comments down below. If you're planning on picking up Switch 2 in a couple of days, maybe you went back like I did and got some nice pickups that you missed over the past year on a Nintendo Switch. Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe here for more Nintendo collecting, PlayStation collecting, all that fun stuff. Follow me on Twitter at BoTalksGames. Follow my Nintendo news channel, BoTalksGames, as well. That'll be linked down below. You can support the channel by using the Amazon affiliate links down there and the PlayAsia affiliate links. And as always, you can click on one of these 2 videos to listen to me ramble about even more collecting nonsense. Until next time, folks. Peace.